Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hivemind. The Democrat Party is reaching rock bottom. Obviously, we've been making that point over the last several weeks. You know, it's nothing new, but we're building on that story. And it seems as though the current trend, at least today, is that it keeps getting worse for the Democrats, mostly on the back of the Joe Biden administration. Folks, like I always say, the test is take a look at what the left-wing media is saying. You can literally tell by the anxiety levels at CNN how things are going for the Democrats. I mean, it's basically the Democrat HQ. And like I said, rock bottom, absolute panic, the Democrats' worst nightmare, just name it. As long as it's negative, it probably applies to the current state. Everything is falling apart, and we're seeing the fallout at the Clinton News Network, courtesy of Jake Tapper, who's now panicking, hitting the official panic button, calling for Joe Biden to be replaced as he is, quote, losing to Donald Trump. Things are getting real interesting, folks. Let me update you guys on everything, but before we get into the clip and any of the details, this video is actually brought to you guys by a sponsor, so let's play that clip. This video is brought to you guys by our great friends at American Hartford Gold. Folks, we're living through the age of fiat currency, but pretty soon we're going to completely transition away from paper money into a full digital dollar world, the central bank digital currency. In other words, the Fed is going to have total administrative control on every dollar in the economy and everybody's bank account. As we inevitably march into that system, there's only one way to protect yourself, or at least hedge a little, and that's by owning precious metals, gold and silver. That's where American Hartford Gold comes in, the highest rated gold company in the US, with thousands upon thousands of 5-star reviews and an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. With one phone call, they could deliver physical gold and silver straight to your doorstep or directly into your IRA or 401k. And best of all, on top of how easy it is, American Hartford Gold is currently running a promotion where you could get up to $5,000 of free silver on qualifying orders. One phone call or text message away. All you gotta do is call 844-440-1005 or text Hivemind, one word, to 65532. That's Hivemind, one word, to 65532. A huge thank you to American Hartford Gold. Now back to the video. All right, friends, so it's officially happening at CNN. Major primetime CNN anchors are officially calling for Joe Biden to be replaced.
Here, let me ask you, just as the Democrat at the table here, your guy's losing to him.
By voters, right? And by polls.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what more Joe Biden can do to remind people what is at stake, right? That's the State of the Union theme, soul of democracy, constantly talking about the battle for the soul of the country on the world stage. There is a responsibility for everybody else to also take the challenge just as seriously as the Democratic Party is in the White House right now.
I know incumbents in general are not popular right now, but do you ever think maybe we should have a new candidate?
No. A new candidate would not have the bully pulpit of the White House, right? Would not have a core of reporters that are covering his every move, which I would ask, as we discuss this here and just let slide that Trump is close enough in age to Biden, and also that Trump's speeches are largely incoherent and have been from the jump, but somehow that narrative is the Biden narrative here. I do think that the benefit that he has is, as we get closer to the day, and as you said, people pay attention, that the difference will become clear. But I'm hanging on to hope here.
He didn't really beat around the bush at all. He didn't avoid the topic. He simply asked the question outright, explicitly. And look, if Jake Tapper's saying it, then the sentiment must be clear pretty much across the board. These CNN people are the last people to fall. They are the last, line of defense ahead of the Democrat establishment and Democrats themselves. These are the last people to jump ship. Many Democrats, independents, those outside of the vote blue no matter who crew have already, basically bounced. Black voters, Latino voters. Joe is losing everyone. That's already happened. The next step, or the next clear point of progression here, is the CNN people. It's the journalists. It's gotten too real. It started off with a couple outlier polls at the time. Those outliers turned into a clear trend. And now that trend has continued for a month and a half, going on 2 months. The trend, of course, Donald Trump beating Joe Biden in every relevant metric, in every relevant poll, every issue, nearly every battleground state. It's no longer that it's a close race, that Donald Trump has a chance of winning. What CNN is now saying, what Jake Tapper is now saying, is that Trump is winning. That's a different narrative entirely. For CNN to be saying that, it's a last-minute panic. Democrat operatives are hitting the oh shit button, but I don't know what good it's gonna do. I mean, they're stuck between a rock and a hard place. Really, they kind of don't really have a choice. At this point, it's Joe Biden or bust. The option to replace Joe Biden probably expired like 6 months ago in reality. The Republican nomination process is almost finished. There's all kinds of momentum behind Donald Trump as the Republican nominee. A lot of people are starting to fall in line as Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley, and the rest come up short. Republican voters here are going to unite behind the nominee of the party, and so it's already too late. It's already set up as a matchup between Trump and Joe Biden. Joe Biden can't pull out at the last second. The only message that's going to convey is dysfunction and chaos. Panic. They can't replace Joe Biden at the last second here with a relatively unknown candidate. And I don't mean unknown as if like, Barack Obama coming on the scene out of nowhere. Even if it was Gavin Newsom who's in national headlines all the time, at the end of the day, he's a relative unknown. A lot of people don't know who he is, or they don't have personal experience with him because they don't live in California. You can't start the learning process, the get to knowing a candidate process, with less than a year ahead of the election, and you certainly can't throw your party into chaos. And so the only choice is to stick with Joe Biden at this point. Joe Biden's ego strikes again. People have been saying forever that they're going to replace him, that he's going to step down. There's no way. I've been maintaining for years at this point that Joe Biden will run again as an incumbent president. There's absolutely no way he doesn't. We've analyzed his 50-plus year career in Washington politics. Joe Biden is one of the biggest egomaniacs on the planet. If there's an opportunity for run for higher office, Joe Biden is running. The moment Joe Biden turned 35, he ran for president. And after a couple cycles, got nicknamed 1% Joe. Joe Biden does what is in Joe Biden's personal interest. Joe Biden does whatever benefits the Biden legacy. That is all the guy cares about. And so for me, it was never a question. He's sticking in. He is running. And now Democrats are forced to strategize. Well, we heard that kind of strategizing. It's not exactly convincing. Joe Biden needs to get back to his State of the Union messaging, bringing back the soul of the nation. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to work at this point. And I certainly don't think that Joe Biden is the man for that job. How exactly is Joe Biden going to get elected on restoring the soul of the nation when Joe Biden doesn't even seem to have a soul himself?
Clear that
The guy's a damn soulless vegetable. But I guess that's the strategy. It's the 2020 strategy. Push nonstop fearmongering, mud democracy, crying wolf endlessly that Donald Trump is going to get us into a nuclear war and nuclear apocalypse. You're going to lose your democracy because Donald Trump's going to take it from you. They're not presenting anything new. They're not presenting anything interesting. And I think for the most part, I think people are kind of done with the fearmongering. The more time goes on, it's not like you're going to convince people who have already jumped off the bandwagon. I guess all of a sudden Donald Trump's an existential threat. Those people are gone. You've lost those people. I'm one of them from back in 2015. All that's happening is that more and more people are coming to the realization the Democrats are attempting to win an election based on emotional fear-mongering, always referring to 1940s Germany and the threat of authoritarianism. The Hitler shtick is getting kind of old at this point, and the idea that Joe Biden's going to cast himself as some sort of Winston Churchill-esque figure, taking on the uprising of Mussolini version 2.0 in the United States, the idea that that narrative is going to sell tickets in 2024, I just find very hard to believe. I think, just like I said earlier, Democrats are stuck between a rock and a hard place. They know they're losing. They're admitting they're losing. They're pressing the panic button, all to no avail, because the reality is they are stuck with Piss Pants Joe. He's a damn rock chained to their ankle, and they're sinking all the way down to the bottom. And hopefully that analysis is correct, because in my view, that's the only acceptable outcome here after shilling and voting for Joe Biden in the first place. There has to be some sort of short-term consequence for voting in a literal geriatric vegetable to the highest office in the world. Like, there's gotta be some sort of consequence for doing that, right? Hopefully I'm not crazy here, right? Anyways, that's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, friends, and I will see you on the next one.